Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to the first of hopefully many gameplay commentaries for the OCG's format. So if you guys are not aware, I actually am going to be going and visiting my family in Malaysia for about 4 months towards the end of October here. So of course, this is going to be a great opportunity to learn the OCG's format, and I figured I would document my experiences here in this aptly named series called Studying OCG. So if you want to go ahead and check out the first video, I'll leave that linked in the description box below. I basically kind of highlight the differences between the OCG's ban list and ours, as well as kind of dissecting a little bit of their metagame. But yeah, this is going to be me playing the Tearlaments deck versus my friend Acrona here on Rescue Ace. So if you guys want to see the deck lists, I will show them to you right now on screen. So this is actually just straight up copied from the OCG. This is a topping list from, what is this? The Yu-Gi-Oh! Japan Championship that happened a few weeks ago. And so this is like a Cashier variation. There's a couple other builds as well of Tearlaments. Of course, there's still Punks running around and just other mill engines. But this is just the one that I felt was the most, I guess, standard, if you will. This is pretty cool. You can see the most notable difference between their deck and ours is the fact that Chaos Ruler is still legal. So they have a lot of ways to kind of facilitate this. They have a plethora of tuner monsters here, including Revolution Synchron, which is newly released in Duelist Nexus. They have Jet Synchron as well, and there's still unbanned Glow Bulb to help make a lot of different plays. To add on to this, since both of their planet searchers are limited, they also have Ancient Fairy Dragon to kind of help with that, just giving the tuners more utility. And then they can also just ladder into the Chaos Ruler. So a lot of cool and explosive plays. This deck is really just all gas, no brakes. You can see the only defensive card in this deck at all is Maxi. And right now, I'm also getting used to kind of just OCG dynamics in general, things like differences in deck building and how to play around Maxi. Playing more Master Duel recently has helped out a little bit, but yeah, this is going to be definitely one of the growing pains of learning the OCG's format. The other thing for me specifically is that I usually don't look too far ahead into like upcoming set releases and new decks until they're close to arriving in the TCG. So yeah, I haven't really explored a whole ton of Rescue Ace, even though it is actually already illegal by the time you guys watch this video. But yeah, newer decks, it's going to take a while for me to get used to, and I still haven't even touched Age of Overlord yet. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of reading and learning and misplaying and struggling involved. But hopefully you guys will kind of enjoy this process. But yeah, there's a lot of silly stuff in this deck as well, things that we just don't have in the TCG, like Snow and the Grass, which is searchable by Thrust. So yeah, a lot of interesting things here, but yeah, this is their tier deck. And then the Rescue Ace list is, this is, I believe, my friend's own variation of this, but it's pretty standard all around. Not too much to say. DD Crow main deck just here to help facilitate beating tier, since again, that deck is still popular in the OCG, and their Bestials are in fact limited. But yeah, a lot of pretty standard things here in this deck, as well as some borrowed OCG tech, things like Proxy Epigician for Mud Dragon to protect, I believe, Turbulence from Valor and Imperm, just like targeted negation. And I believe the OCG has also had a new recent tech, which is like the Auroradon package with Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion to help go into more synchros, things like Dawn Dragster and Herald of the Arclight, just more negation to help protect Turbulence and just to put up bigger boards. So obviously I can understand my friend not wanting to pivot too far in that direction, since they still are testing for the TCG, and Maxi already is enough of a dynamic shift. But yeah, this list, I don't think there's a whole lot to say here. I still don't know too much about this deck. I haven't really played it myself yet. So we're going to kind of rain check my own thoughts on this until later. But this seems like a pretty reasonably standard list. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop right into the gameplay here. So we're going to go ahead and, oh, I think I won the RPS there. Yeah, so we're going to be choosing to go first. And our opening hand is pretty crazy here. We open Midorek, Hellbeck, Jet Synchron, Tearcash, and Sulik. So opening 2 1-ofs, Shizu names, and no less 1 Shuffler and 1 Miller, so this hand is already quite strong. The deck is a lot of 1-ofs just inherently, so you're bound to open just a good number of these. But yeah, super solid hand, and again, going second, you kind of are relying on your engine to kind of try and chew through boards, which is a little bit scary, just kind of based on the way that we like to play here in the TCG. But again, OCG playstyles are also, they also vastly differ. So that's going to be something to kind of get accustomed to, more so once I play over there, since I don't really know any OCG players personally. But yeah, their hand is going to contain Rescue Ace HQ, Imperm, Extinguish, Call by the Grave, and Fire Attacker. This one is the D draw if your opponent searches. and just an extender. I have to kind of like remind myself what these cards do because I'm mostly familiar with them, but I kind of have to just make sure that I'm fully acquainted with them. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and kick things off here with, of course, Medora pitching Kelbeck, and then we're going to just fire it off right away. So there's a couple of punishes, 2 milling the Rescue Ace deck a little bit. There's like the Graveyard Effect of Emergency, and I believe Reinforce, which can recycle traps and spells respectively. And they have a couple of like Graveyard Recursive effects, and then like the Field Spell is also like an Avarice, for example. But of course, on average, the tier mills are going to be better than their mills, so we're always going to go for it. And you always have to go for it, just because the power level of the deck is much lower than it used to be. Rather, the consistency. But yeah, our mills are pretty good here. We hit Havness and we hit the Tier Cache, so we're going to fire both of those off. So we're going to mill 2 more and then resolve Havness. And then Havness is going to go and put back the King of the Swamp that we milled, so we're going to go for Recallus right away. This is kind of an interesting point of discussion because I actually don't know how much I need to play around Nibiru into the OCG format. It is a reasonably popular side deck card, but as far as the main deck card is concerned, I know that it hasn't been the most prevalent in the OCG, just in general. So this might not necessarily be the best thing to go for. Maybe it's better to go for the Graph Fusion first, for example. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's still pretty fine. And we are going to continue on here. So we hit Rhinoheart, and I liked to not use it here simply because I felt like sending something with Rhino wasn't really going to facilitate any meaningful fusion play. And I didn't really want to give up my Silic here, so I decided to just hold off on it and not use it for now. So here went Tier Cache, effect in hand to banish the Tier Cache and Grave, and we're going to mill 3 more. We hit Scream, which is really, really solid, so we get to go ahead and trigger it, and they are still playing Meta Noise in their list, so this is going to be a very nice add. And then from here, we also hit a Glow Bulb, which is extremely convenient because we literally just summoned Tier Cache, so we're going to go ahead and summon that right here, hitting a Grief. Notably, Glow Bulb does not mill for cost, so it actually does trigger like all of the graveyard effects. Grief adds a banished trap, a banished Tier Trap, so nothing to add back here. But, not really any concern because we still get to make Chaos Ruler. And Chaos Ruler is going to mill us 5 more. We hit triple King of the Swamp, which is very funny. And then, even though we don't have a Darker Light to add back with the Chaos Ruler, we get to hit Agido and mill 5 more as well. So, yeah, Agido is going to go ahead and hit us double Rev Synchron, Destrudo, Sheeran, and Sulik. So, a little bit of an above average mill, I would say. And then their mills are just more hand traps and more engine cards, which I guess is pretty much all what the deck consists of. But yeah, we're going to fire off both of our graveyard effects here. So Selic is going to add Havness, and the Sheeran is going to go ahead and summon the Graph Fusion. And then from here, there's a couple different routes we can go because we have Rev Sync running Graves. So this is an avenue to go ahead and summon out Hot Red. We do not have any lights in the main deck besides Snow, and the only light to banish for Chaos Ruler otherwise to bring itself back is Ancient Fairy. But there's not really a point to going for Ancient Fairy, even though we could with like Destrudo plus Medora here, because we didn't open with a field spell, nor did we hit Trivia Karma. So I figured we could just save some follow-up here, go for the Revolution Synchron, and we can go for Hot Red, and then since we have not normal summoned, we can just normal summon the Jet Synchron and link off into an IP Masquerena, which in this list only can make Underworld Goddess. This list isn't even playing Sprint to like go IP into Sprint on their turn and then send Merly and Fuse. So some interesting deck building choices for sure. But I mean, this is still a pretty solid end board, of course. We have both of the traps. We have Hot Red, Graph Interruption, which we can use to either send this Havness, or if we want to use the Havness, we can go like Recallus Send Select to add another tier and then trigger the other tier by pitching it off Grapha. So that's like 2 interruptions off this one card. We have IP as well. So this is like 7 interruptions with the Medora. So it's like 8 interruptions. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, they're just gonna show us their hand and concede, because the only real play is to try and imperm one of these, and then the only real engine card here is Emergency, which is always just gonna be negated by whichever one is negated between Hot Red and the Recallus. So that's just gonna be a quick concession, and we're gonna move into game number 2. So of course they're gonna be going first, and their opening hand is gonna contain Reinforce, Fire Engine, Prosperity, Judgment, and DD Crow. So this is gonna ride quite a bit on what Prosperity hits. But overall, not a bad hand if it does hit a good engine card. And our hand is Keldo, Agido, Trivic Karma, Tier Cash, and Sheeran. You know, maybe one of the reasons why Tier is one of their best decks is if you just open Insane every single game. Yeah, I really have no words for this one. But yeah, Prosperity is going to go ahead and be fired off here. And they're going to banish 6, and they're going to take Airlifter, because Airlifter is their Rhoda Force spells. So this can grab Emergency, and then that can just get them into more Engine. Looking at their banish, I'm just curious what they banished. It's not really too consequential since it's all toolbox, but they're going to go ahead and normal summon the Airlifter and go Airlifter Chainlink 1, Fire Engine Chainlink 2 to summon itself, and then they're going to grab Emergency. And then Emergency is going to summon out the Hydrant, then tributing the Airlifter on board. And the Hydrant is going to search for Turbulence. And Turbulence is going to be summoned by banishing the 2 Rescue Base cards, and then they're going to activate the effect. We have no Imperm or anything, so they're going to set Alert, Contain, Extinguish, and Rescue. So I'm just going to quickly reacquaint myself with these cards. This one's the Effect Negation, and this one is the Shark Cannon or Reborn. This one is the Pop, and also prevents you from activating the effects of the Destroyed Monster, which I think that part's pretty crazy. And then Alert is the Add Back from Grave or Rhoda. So they're going to use it because they have Hydrant on board, and they're going to search for, I believe that was Preventer. Yeah, and then Preventer is going to be summoned by banishing the Alert, and then that's the Book of Moon. They're going to set 2 and pass. So we have to play through quite a lot of interruptions here. We have to play through the Book of Moon. We have to play through another interruption with the Fire Engine, depending on what gets brought out. And then all the traps. So it's quite a lot here, and Didicro in hand as well. So yeah, we're going to try our best here. We're going to go Keldo, pitch Agido, and then they're going to chain Didicro to get rid of the Agido, which hurts because now it won't trigger, which is very bad news for us. And then we still get a search for our Kalbeck, which is a bit of a consolation, but it's definitely going to still be a bit troublesome. We're going to declare Sheeran in hand, and we're going to go ahead and pitch this Kalbeck here. Milling 3, and we hit Scream, so we're going to go ahead and trigger both the Kalbeck and the Scream, assuming I didn't side out a trap, which I did not, so we hit Sulik. We grab Sulik, rather, and then we're going to mill 5. And our hits were not that good here. Did I actually mill too much there? I might have milled too many. Oh no, I milled 5, and then we hit Tier Cash, so we're going to fire off the Tier Cash. And then we milled 2 more. So, yeah, these hits were not that good, because Rev Synchron is not really a good hit unless if you're already able to play the game. And in this case, we're already really struggling because we drew Trivia Karma, which is a brick in this build. There's no way to really get it out of hand. I don't think there's no barricade or blocker in this deck. So yeah, really the only extension we have is Tier Cash, followed by like maybe like a Redoer into try and trigger Sheeran. But even that's not that good because we don't have King of the Swamp Engrave or anything like that. So yeah, we're gonna have to try and hope that this Tier Cash hits 3 insane cards here. And we hit a Snow, which is decent, but definitely not good enough to break the board here. We're gonna try for the Redoer, and then it's gonna get popped by Extinguish, and then we just concede here, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, first 2 games are kind of just a showcase of what these decks do, and now we're gonna move into game number 3. So our opening hand is gonna be King of the Swamp, Pillar Rhino, Foolish Goods, Wraithsoth, and Medora. A little unfortunate actually opening both of the field spells because it kind of, you know, curtails any Ancient Fairy shenanigans. Although to be fair, we didn't draw like Rev Synchron or Destrudo anyway. But yeah, this hand is all right with the potential to be really good, just depending on how the mills go, as is always the case with Tier, right? And then their hand is going to be Turbulence, Dark Ruler, Reinforced, Alert, and Emergency. So the Dark Ruler is going to be a bit of a problem if we can't get to like an Omni in the form of Crime specifically. But actually, does this list even play Crime still? No, it doesn't. It doesn't even play Crime. So yeah, we can't even use that as an option. So definitely going to be a bit of a problem for us. But yeah, we're going to lead with the Wraithsoth for Tier Cash. And then we're going to go for Pillar Rhino for Sheeran. And then here we're going to King of the Swamp for Poly. Because we have a couple of different plays we could do. We could have gone for like a normal summon of Rhino Heart if we really, really wanted to. And then, like go Rhino Heart, send a Tier Name. And then we can go like Tier Name effect to go for Kaleido Heart. And we can like Planet Pop Kaleido Heart. That's like a guaranteed play. That gets us like Kaleido Heart plus Sulik. And then that's pretty much it, with the exception of maybe like Goods into Sulik, Select add, and then we can go like tier cache banish the trap. So that's like one route we could have played it, but here we decided to go for Sheeran just because we have Medora, so I kind of want to just get it out of my hand as well. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and goods for the Select, and then Select's going to grab Rhino. There is also consideration for sending Trivia Karma, which Trivia Karma could search for Scream, which is something as well to kind of think about. But I decided to go for, like, I guess, some more guaranteed safe lines. So, like, this way we got to pretty much add everything. So, actually, I did get to add whatever I wanted here. But yeah, we're going to go Sheeran, and we actually pitched the Rhino. Actually, looking back on this, I did this because I want to do the Rhino Heart tier cache interaction, which we'll talk about right here. So we're going to go ahead and activate Rhino Heart as chain link 1, and then tier cache as chain link 2. So the wording of Rhino, if you guys are not familiar, is that it goes ahead and summons first, and then it sends a tier card from hand to grave. So if your only tier card in hand is tier cache, you can just chain the tier cache to get it out of hand first. And then when the Rhino resolves, it'll summon, but doesn't have to send from hand to grave, which is cool. Maybe it wasn't necessary. I mean, I had the normal summon of Rhino Heart anyway, so the only real difference is I have this Medora still in my hand, but I could always just normal summon if necessary, so I guess at the end of the day, it didn't make too much of a difference. The only real meaningful mill that we got off of the Sheeran was Glow Bulb, and I guess the second King of the Swamp, but this one is already kind of just guaranteed here. We're going to go for Rhino and the tier cache to mill 3, and we hit Insane here. Well, we hit pretty good, because we hit Meta Noise and we hit Merly, but the value of the Meta Noise is going to depend on if we decide to fuse with both the Merly and the name that we send off this this Rhino here. So it's kind of going to add a bit of a new sort of road, or new sort of, like, I guess, decision tree, if you will. So we have Havness and we have Merly that we can trigger, and optionally Meta Noise. So here we could either go for like Graphic Fusion plus Rukalos, or we can go for just Rukalos and add back the Merly and like normal Merly if we wanted to. But because this list isn't really playing Sprint or anything, there's not really a pull point. Plus, like, Sprint would want to be sending this anyways. So I believe what I decided to do was just use both of them. So use Merly and use a Havness to bring out both of the fusions here with our double King of the Swamp. And actually, I go for Kaleido Heart just to guarantee a trap, because right now we don't have guaranteed access to it. So yeah, I go ahead and banish the Rhino Heart because I figured that we can just normal summon the Medora and go for Redoer as well if we need to. So we're going to go just Planet Effect to pop the Kaleido Heart, and then Kaleido Heart Effect is going to go ahead and send the Scream, summon back the Kaleido Heart. Just kidding, go ahead and send Grief. Yeah, because I realized that I banished the Select here. So yeah, we can just go ahead and Grief add back Select, and then we can Bulb here because this is a Chaos Ruler play. We hit Havness, which was already used, so we're just going to go for the Ruler. And the Ruler effect is going to go ahead and hit 5. And we're going to add the Distributor to hand, which actually will end up mattering, I believe. But yeah, we also hit a Kalbeck, which I'm deliberating on using here. And I do decide to do it because we could still hit... I was going to say we could still hit Scream, but we already have Meta Noise Engrave. And there's no other traps besides second Select. So what are we trying to mill here? Not really too sure, actually, because the Sheeran is on board. I think it's actually maybe a mistake to mill here. The only thing to try and hit is, I suppose, Rev Synchron for Hot Red, or like Just Synchron. I guess those are both fine, because converting into Hot Red is pretty valuable. So yeah, I don't hate this. And actually, if I was able to get to Hot Red, that actually would have beaten the Dark Ruler, because then I can just go Dark Ruler Chainlink 1, Select Chainlink 2, and then Hot Red Chainlink 3. So actually, it definitely is worth it to use this, looking back on it. We hit the other Shuffler, and we hit Skomata, and we hit Agido. We're also trying to hit Fairy Tale Snow. I forgot about that card, too. There's just so many cards that we do not have access to that they will be trying to hit. So, yeah, the average value of their mills is super, super high. But, yeah, we go ahead, and we, of course, send the Beast after Skomata, and then we hit this Scream and Select, but I believe both... Or Select was already used, and Scream is now out of targets. And here they hit Emergency to be able to recycle back Extinguish. That's like the most noteworthy thing here. And then Beast is gonna draw us into the Just Synchron. So what did I actually do here? I'm curious on what my play was. Oh, I did actually go for hot red. So I literally just missed the line to go Sulic into hot red because I lose the game because I just let the dark rear resolve. I remember that. That was a spoiler, by the way. I played this match about a week and a half ago, about a week ago, and I literally forgot what happened. And now I'm looking back on this and I feel like a fool. Like, what was that? How do I have the answer to dark ruler and just not use it? But anyways, I feel really silly now. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and carry on here. We're gonna just synchron here, pitching the Medora, and then okay, we went to Baron. That's why. Oh, because I wanted to Baron pop the Sheeran. Okay. All right. Now it makes a little more sense. But it's still a little strange. I guess I wasn't playing with Dark Ruler in mind, but I should have because it was a literally build. So yeah, there's not really a good justification for that. I don't really know what happened here. But yeah, I guess lesson learned is in games 2 and 3, hot red is probably better to keep on board if you had to choose between that and Baron if Dark Ruler is in the meta, which it very well could be. So yeah, okay. Now I remember why Dark Ruler was able to resolve because it literally had to. Oh, that's actually so sad. If I kept the hot red on board, it actually would have been better. They top deck Max C, but because a lot of our board is turned off, they actually get to play through it now. The graveyard is actually fueled for this Turbulence. So that's going to go ahead and be summoned. And here is where I make a mistake. And this is a product of me not knowing the Rescue Race deck well enough when I was playing against it. So here I let them go ahead and activate the Turbulence, and then I try and select it. And then this gets hard punished by Emergency, which is a very, very common punish. It's one that I wasn't aware of, but it's like a super, super common play. So what I should have done instead was probably just use Medora to go ahead and recycle some of my tiers and then use Planet to pop, which would have been a bit more value for me. So like they still could have chained Emergency to like get some sort of just get like a free tribute, basically not having to pay any cost for this. But yeah, I mean having this resolve is definitely a big problem. And I'm not sure if there is a way for this to come back, or for this to hit the board apart from its own effect. I know Preventer can reborn or can bring back a banished Rescue Ace that's not level 8. Is this thing level 8 actually? Let's count. This is 4, 5. This is level 9. Okay, so I guess this can be banished and then it can be brought back with Preventer if this is sent to the grave. So I guess the way to get it back would be, it would be Emergency, summon Hydrant, add the second Preventer, banish the Turbulence, and then you like link 2 and then bring back the Turbulence. So I guess that's one way to get this back. But then I would have Select for that, which would be a lot easier. Or I could just Select the Hydrant. But yeah, here I try and Select, and it gets like heavily punished here. And so now the Turbulence resolves. So they're gonna go ahead and set 3 because I think they have more targets in hand and in their grave, so they can't set 4 here. And then here is another place where I could have also used Medora to try and pop Hydrant. But at that point, would that have been worth it? I'm not entirely sure, actually, if that would have been worth it right here. Because they didn't set Reinforce, so I can assume that it's in their hand. But, yeah, I'm not completely sure if popping the Hydra here would have netted any benefit here. So let me know in the comments below if that's what I should have done, given the other misplay that I already made before. Like, the guaranteed play was definitely to Medora, trigger Planet, and then pop the Turbulence there. But if salvaging the play by popping Hydrant here is worth it, then let me know, because I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, they're going to go ahead and fire off the Hydrant. Fire off the Hydrant. That was not intended as a pun. But anyways, they're going to grab Airlifter, and then they're going to go for Alert, which is going to go and search Preventer. They're going to go and search HQ off of the normal summoned Airlifter, and then they're going to go Preventer to banish Turbulence. Yeah, and they can go for this play, which is like linking. And then I was not aware how generically flexible the extra deck was. Like, it is very, very toolboxy, like very toolboxy. So they would just go for Nightmare Phoenix to pop my planet, so now that interruption's completely turned off, and I waited far too long on any of these plays. Yeah, again, this is just me not knowing how to deal with this deck, or how to like play against it. So it's just a learning experience for me. But yeah, they're gonna go ahead and use the field spell to recycle 4. I can't really use Majora to interrupt this because it shuffles them. It doesn't like it's not like Avarice where if you remove one of the targets, it just doesn't resolve. But yeah, they're gonna draw into Call by the Grave, and then they're going to rescue, bring back the Preventer, and then they're going to Unicorn, spin back the Silic. And then they're going to battle phase because they have HQ, which is boosting by 500. So they can clear over 2 of my fusions. And then in main phase 2, they can make Access Code Talker and pop the rest of my board. So yeah, this is now pretty much impossible for me to come back. I definitely threw in multiple ways this game. First off, by not leaving the hot red on board when I definitely could have, especially because I saw... It would be more defensible to go for Baron if I didn't literally mill Dark Ruler out of their deck. But because I did, I should have played around Dark Ruler. So that's something that I did not do. And the other thing was probably just trying to use a Shuffler to just pop the Turbulence. There was a high chance that they could have played through that anyway since they had a lot of extenders. They had Emergency and they had Alert in hand, I believe. But it would have been much better than just sitting here and doing nothing and just not using my interruptions whatsoever. So yeah, lesson learned. Definitely... is something that is good to kind of take away here. So they're going to use the Extinguish to recycle, Emergency to recycle Extinguish, and then Reinforce to recycle Rescue. And that is already lights out. And then we draw Silic, and we just concede. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good showcase of the decks. First game, we kind of just tier comboed and won. The second game, they kind of just comboed, and we didn't hit very well. And they had a lot of good disruptions, so they won. And this game was winnable from our side if we had played a little better against like the non-engine and knew what the engine did a bit better as well. But yeah, again, this is a process of me studying the OCG. This is not really as much me trying to show off like optimal plays or anything. It's trying to get better technical play wise and be more familiar with things. What's interesting is that Maxi was not dropped a single time this entire match, which is funny. They drew Maxi for turn. And yeah, just nobody drew Maxi. So yeah, that'll be something that I will be not looking forward to playing against too much in the future, but is just a part of their format, so it is what it is. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Again, let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see any particular decks, or if you guys want to see more gameplay as opposed to like other sorts of content. I'm open to a lot of different ideas, just because really between now and my trip, I'm just going to be focused on learning the OCG, and that's about it. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and until next time, I will catch you in the next video. See you guys!